All right, we're almost done here, people. Let's finish up Comic-Con with days 3 and 4. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's-a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
All right, so let me get this out of the way real quick. If you want to find the podcast, you can always find it in the iHeartRadio app. Just type in the show presents Super Dario World, or in iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can find it as Super Dario World Podcast. Okay, so just a quick reminder. Yesterday I told you about Thursday and Friday, how the night ended up after... I don't even remember how my night ended up. Oh, yeah, after the Jay and Silent Bob handprint ceremony, and just going out and having a few drinks with a friend at a bar. Well, by a few, I mean just one. And I left early Friday night because Saturday I had a date with Supergirl. We had a 9 a.m. I had to be at 9 a.m. back at the Hilton to do the press line for the Supergirl TV show, the CW TV show Supergirl. And 9 a.m. may sound early for Saturday, but after 2 days of getting up at 4 a.m., 9 a.m. sounded fantastic. It sounded fantastic. I was very, very happy about that. Now, there's a theme for this Saturday, and the theme basically is CW and Arrowverse and Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, for those of you who don't know, there's a thing called the Arrowverse in the CW. They have a whole bunch of TV shows, and they're all related. A bunch of superhero TV shows. They're DC superheroes, and they're all related to one another. So you have Arrow was the original show. Then you had The Flash, which kind of spinned off of Arrow, it started in Arrow, and then it became its own thing. That's The Flash. Then you had Supergirl, which became part of the Arrowverse. It was originally an NBC, I think, and then they canceled it there. The CW acquired it, and so now it's officially part of the Arrowverse, though it's in its own universe. It's really weird. And then you got Legends of Tomorrow. So those are the four superhero shows that are kind of connected in the Arrowverse. And every season they have a few crossover episodes. And like last season they had Elseworlds crossover, or originally, the original one I think was just the superheroes teaming up. Then they had Invasion, where a whole bunch of aliens came and attacked the Earth. Then they had Crisis on Earth X. They're all best. The best part of those shows is the crossover episodes. It's phenomenal to see all the heroes and villains interacting with each other. It's great. It's my favorite part of the shows. It's why you have to watch all of them. That's the problem. Keeping up with the CW lineup is hard because you have to watch all of them in order to understand certain things. Honestly, it's not a drag. The weakest one in the CW lineup is Supergirl, but it's okay. It's weak. Supposedly, they changed the producers and the showrunners, so maybe this season it's going to go in a different direction. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go through these a little bit quickly because I don't want to be here as long as I was yesterday. So for Supergirl, we had Melissa Benoist, who plays Kara Danvers, a.k.a. Supergirl, the lead. Now, this was a press line. Remember, there's 4 types of interviews. Round table, the table in our room, press line, which is where celebrities just walk by and you have 2-3 questions to ask them on camera and they're just with you. And the last one was red carpet. So this was a press line. And I did not get Melissa Benoist, unfortunately. Derek Sante, who's the guy who was running the show there at Comic-Con, he's the guy who hooked me up with the job. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do Melissa and you got everybody else. So it's a shame. I mean, I got to meet her. You know, she's really nice. She's really weird. She has interesting body language. She's like hunched up. Like she looks really tense. Like her shoulders are all she's shrug it. That's not what I'm looking for. But it looks like she's either really cold or really tense. So it's really weird because in the show, you know, Kara Danvers, Supergirl, she has all this confidence. Her body is straight. Her shoulders are back straight. Shoulders back. So it's interesting to see. She's still a very beautiful girl. Then we also had David Hareworth, who plays the Martian Manhunter. Jesse Rath, who plays Brainiac 5. I now that I think about it, I didn't get to interview those 2 either. I think Derek, he did all those 3. Then I got Mikad Brooks, who plays Jimmy Olsen and Guardian. This is his final season on the show. So it was kind of a a bittersweet interview for him. You could tell that he kind of was suffering, not really suffering, but he was sad. It's like he knew that this was going to be one of his last interviews, and it's like, okay, this is probably my last Comic-Con with these guys. So it's bittersweet because apparently all the CW people are really, it's a really tight-knit group. So sucks. If it's what do you call it? If it's his career is going to go up, no problem. But if he's just got written out for some other reason, that's got to suck. Either way, he looked kind of sad, but good interview. I also had Nicole Maines, who is the newcomer on the show. She's going to play Nia Nal, who is, I think, the first transgender character in the Arrowverse. I don't know what's happening there. Then I had Andrea Brooks, who plays Eve Teschmacher, one of the villains. She was really pregnant. And Kathy McGrath, who plays Lena Luthor. And her storyline is going to be interesting this season because, I won't do a spoiler. But the point is, there's going to be a big change in her character this season. Also, I had Kyler Lay, who plays Alex. That's Supergirl's sister. And now, for those of you who've seen the show or who don't know who this is, she played Lexi Gray in Grey's Anatomy. Love Grey's Anatomy. It's a great show. And I love Lexi. I had a huge crush on her. I thought she's an extremely beautiful girl. So getting to meet her was super fun for me. And after that, I got Assie Tesfaye, who plays Kelly Olsen, Jimmy Olsen's sister. Anyway, so that was Supergirl. I wasn't really too amped for that. So after that, we had in our room, we had the TV show, the cast of the TV show, The Rookie, the whole cast. Now, for those of you who don't know, honestly, most of the cast don't even care. I didn't even see them. But for those of you who watched the TV show, that's Nathan Fillion's new TV show. I think it's on season 2 now, or the season 2's coming up. He plays John Nolan on that show. Stupid computer. And he also was the lead in Castle, and he also played Malcolm Reynolds in a little TV show called Firefly. Now, I can't tell you how much I love Firefly. Firefly is also in my top 3 of best sci-fis of all time, maybe of the greatest shows of all time. It was canceled after its first season, and nobody understands why. The fans were so upset that they had to make a movie to kind of try to close it out. There's still comic books coming out of it, of the show. It's a beloved TV show. I have no idea why nobody's brought it back. It'd be a gold mine. But I love the show. And also Nathan Fillion, again, is one of the kings of the con. Not kidding. He's a mega celebrity because of Firefly. People love this guy. It's really weird watching him walk by is like seeing a unicorn at Comic-Con. It's really weird, and you could see people's reactions. Like all of a sudden, they do a quick double take. Like, was that Nathan Fillion? But by that time, he's already out of there. Dude cannot stop moving. He cannot stop moving. So in our room, we had a bunch of toys, and one of the toys was we had. I loaded a video of it on my Instagram. So we had an Infinity Gauntlet. That was, well, not the Infinity Gauntlet, but the one that they make for Endgame, the Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet, and we had that and we were playing around with it. Nathan loved that, and he was just playing around with it the whole interview pretty much. And so by the middle of the interview, I got a phone call, and it was Cody, my camera guy, and I was like, fuck, I have to get out of here. I didn't get to interview them, by the way. I was just sitting there in the room because I was like, I'm meeting Nathan Fillion. I don't give a fuck. I'm meeting fucking Nathan Fillion. So I'm in the room. I'm just like mesmerized, like, oh my god, it's Nathan Fillion. And I got a phone call. It's my camera guy Cody, and I was like, fuck, all right, I gotta take this because maybe he's having issues coming into the press stuff. Maybe he needs to pass. I don't know. I need to get out of here and help him. So I walk out of the room. I answered the call. It turns out Cody was just letting me know that he was going to be on time for our next day, that everything was fine. Like, okay, cool, whatever. I turn around, and the door to our room was locked, and there's 2 security guys out there. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to, door's locked. But door's locked. And I was like, fuck! Because I wanted to ask, again, you don't ask for pictures beforehand, and usually, like I said before, I only ask for a picture if I'm getting to do the interview, if I'm the person doing the interviews. But this is Nathan fucking Fillion. I didn't care. I was gonna go for it. I didn't care. It's Nathan Fillion. So now I'm out in the room. I'm out of the room like, fuck, what the hell? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? There was nothing I can do. I mean, what was I going to do? Try to knock down the two giant security dudes and then knock down the door and then hope that maybe he respects that so much that he wants to take a picture with a psycho who's just attacked people? I don't think it's going to work. So I just, had to stay out there. Cody showed up. I just glared at him because that son of a bitch cost me meeting Nathan Fillion. And as he's walking by, I just took a quick video. And it's really, as he was walking, I could see as he's walking out, somebody hands him something. Turns out that Derek gave him the Infinity Gauntlet. So he kept the Infinity Gauntlet. He walked away with the Infinity Gauntlet. So I don't know why I found that really amazing. It's like, that's a classic Nathan Fillion thing. He sees a toy, he likes it, and Derek, we were giving away toys anyway, but Derek gave him like the big toy to Nathan Fillion. Makes perfect sense. It was awesome. I got to see him. I got to shake his hand. I didn't get the picture, but I can say that I met Nathan Fillion. Like, at least he for a second he was aware I have a name. So that's something. That was really fun. Anyway, that was great, even though it kind of sucked in the middle of it. Anyway, I'll get Cody back for that one. Anyway, after that, we had the cast from The Expanse. Now, this is an Amazon show. I've never seen it, so I wasn't going to be a part of it, but it was there in the room. I got to see the interview going down. After that, I had a press line for the TV show Black Lightning. This is another CW superhero show. I actually had them last year, so I already knew the cast. And so I didn't really need to do much press because I watched the show, and I already met them, and I had pretty good rapport with some of the characters, with some of the actors. Now, before the interview started, there was a lady that walked in, and she started giving us a whole bunch of instructions. Like, this certain person's name is Nafisa. Repeat after me, Nafisa. And only 2-3 questions, and blah, blah, blah. She also said very specifically, now, I know you're all aware of the news that there was a certain death related to one of our actors here. Please abstain from asking anything about that, okay? We want to keep this light. We want to keep this happy. Please abstain from asking any questions about that subject. And now, I had no idea. Like, most of us had no idea because we were doing press stuff all weekend. We're busy doing what we're doing. We don't have time to keep up with all the news. But I did a little digging, and it turns out that the person who suffered a loss of a friend was China Ann McClain. Now, she plays Jennifer, and I'll get to her in a bit. So I'll leave her for last. So first off, right off the bat, the cast walks in, and I get Nafisa Williams, who, if you've seen the show, plays one of the daughters of Black Lightning. She plays Anissa. Her character's Thunder. You may have seen her in Code Black, or she played Jade in Twin Peaks. Really nice girl. I didn't really have that much chemistry with her, so I just asked her a few basic questions. She's kind of an interesting cat, but in a good way. She's nice, but we just didn't really have that much chemistry. Then I had Christine Adams, who plays Lynn, the mother. She's been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's been in Terra Nova. If you saw her, you'd recognize her. Super nice lady. It always shocks me when I find out that an actor that I thought was American turns out is British. I don't know why. I know they're acting, but I don't know. It's surprising the amount of British actors that work in America. I don't understand it, but good for them. If they're doing a good job. After that, I got the villain of the show, Marvin Jones, Crondon. Martin Crondon Jones. That's his rapper name, Crondon. He plays Tobias Whale. Dude is an amazing actor. Like, the villain that he plays, Tobias Whale, is phenomenal, and I got to meet him last year. He's an African American, but he's also an albino. So it kind of, he has, you can see why they picked him as a villain, because he has kind of a weird vibe. You look at him, you're like, there's something wrong. But super nice guy, super humble for a rapper and an actor and a villain. So I got to reconnect with him on some of the jokes that we did last year. Really, really nice guy. Now, the next guy we met was Jordan Calloway. He plays Khalil Payne, a.k.a. Painkiller. You may remember him from the TV show Unfabulous, or he appeared in a few episodes of Riverdale as well. Anyway, with him, and this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but if you're not going to watch Black Lightning, doesn't really matter. Last year, I was in the room. I was in the Black Lightning press line when they announced that Jordan Calloway was officially going to be part of the cast. He was going to be a recurring cast member. Well, not a recurring cast member. He was going to be, he was going to be part of the main cast. So I was like, oh, great. And at one point during the season, his character dies. So I got to tell him, like, dude, it was a roller coaster with you this season, because last season, I was in the room, they gave the news, I was like, oh, good, the dude did a good job, good for him. Halfway through the season, you're dead. It's like, did they fire the guy? The season that they hired him, did they just kill him off? That's bullshit. And he's like, yeah, I was nervous too. Every single script I got, I was like, what the hell? How are they bringing me back? So he's a fun dude, really nice. Again, the CW crew is just a whole bunch of really nice people, extremely nice people. After him, I got to talk with the star of the show, Cress Williams. He plays Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning. Now, again, I met him last year. Cress and I already had a bit of a rapport. Last year, he mentioned that he was going to voice the character Steel in a few of the DC animated movies. So we talked about, because he loves, apparently, animated movies. So we talked a little about how Black Lightning versus Steel fight would go, what animated movie would he like to do with Black Lightning, and how it's really weird that Black Lightning in the animated TV show is not voiced by him. It's voiced by somebody else because he's younger. It's fun. Dudes, Cress Williams is a really nice dude. Really, really nice dude. And for those of you, if you don't know the show, you might remember him from Never Been Kissed, ER, Veronica Mars, Close to Home, Grey's Anatomy, Prison Break. Dude's been everywhere. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. Now, this comes to the end. All right, China Ann McClain. She plays Jennifer Pierce, the other daughter of Black Lightning, and her superhero name is Lightning. Now, the death that was close to her. Now, she's also in the Disney series of movies called The Descendants. I believe The Descendants 3 is about to come out. One of the actors from that series died. Now, her and I. By the way, she is my favorite interview from the entire. She was my favorite interview from Comic-Con last year. She's super bright, bubbly, nice, funny. She's an awesome girl. Like, she's got a bubbly personality. She says the most random things. She plays along. She's just there. She's having fun. So she was my favorite interview from last year. And we had a joke kind of about, because I asked her about The Descendants, and she was not supposed to tell me anything about it, but she said a little. And she kind of realized, like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. And I was like, don't worry, I'll let it out. Or, it's so we kind of had like a little bit there. Or it's like, or you better stay on my good side, because otherwise, I'm sending this to Disney. So we had a little bit, we had a good rapport. Now, this year she came in with a completely different, and to me, I was like, thank God that they mentioned this before we started the interviews, because I was going to go ahead and ask her directly about The Descendants, like see if this year she can talk about it or something. So I was very, very thankful that they said, don't talk about that shit. So I got lucky there. Again, this year, my favorite interview. She's so much fun. She's so bubbly. She jokes around. She rolls with the punches. We joked around because her new look, she shaved her head. Well, she didn't shave her head. Like, she cut it really, really, really short. She was wearing a leather jacket thingy, so she looked like Morpheus. We joked about that. It was fun. She's a really, really cool chick. Again, my favorite interview from this year. You would never guess that somebody close to her had just died, like, ever. Anyway, Black Lightning was great. After Black Lightning, we got The Flash. And so, again, the theme for most of the CW superhero shows that are part of the Arrowverse, by the way, Black Lightning, not part of the Arrowverse. I don't know why. It was that everything this season, the crossover event, is leading up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now, if you don't know what Crisis on Infinite Earths is, it's a comic book storyline where basically there's a villain called the Anti-Monitor who goes to the universe that he's in. He kind of just destroys. And so villains at one point kind of have to try to join his side, then they kind of want to go against him, and superheroes from different universes come together to try to stop him. And it's known for it was designed to kind of bring the multiverse of DC together, to kind of clean, because they knew that the multiverse thing is super complicated and it's a headache, so they wanted to bring everything together just to one universe and kill off a whole bunch of characters in the process. There's so much death in the Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline. It's phenomenal. I love it. And there's multiple versions of Superman, multiple versions of the Flash, and multiple versions of everybody. So it's an amazing, amazing storyline. And so the Crisis at Infinite Earths for this for the CW makes sense because it's the final season of Arrow, and so if there's going to be a whole bunch of killing off people, it makes sense. Also, for some reason, the Supergirl universe is in another universe, so I don't know. This might be they're claiming that there's going to be different versions of Superman returning, which means that we could have a Tom Welling sighting. Brandon Roth for sure is going to retake the role of Superman. So because he's already working in the CW, so there's a whole lot of surprises ahead. It might be their biggest TV event yet or ever. I don't see how they're going to top it. But anyway, so I unfortunately did not get to interview the Flash, Grant Gustin, or Candace Patton, who plays Iris West. Derek shotgunned those two. But we did have a funny moment while during an interview, Grant Gustin the Flash, kind of just stopped in the middle. He's like, I'll be right back. And he walks out of the room to do something. He's like, oh, no, I'll be right back. Everybody was like, what the fuck's happening? Like, the Flash just walked out of the room. And then he did something outside. Nobody knows what he did outside. But then he just ran back. So as he was doing it, people were like cheering, like, hey, Flash, woo! So it was a very silly, very funny moment. And so that was fun. I got to meet him. Didn't really get to interview him, but still, got to meet the Flash. Anyway, after those two, the mic came over to me, and I got to interview Danielle Panabaker, who plays Caitlin Snow, or Killer Frost, Carlos Valdez, who plays Cisco Ramon, or Vibes. Now, for those of you, there's actually, for some reason, a P1 who a fan of the morning show that I work on here, San Diego, Rock 105.3, the show, who always thought that that's how I looked like. When he heard me on the radio and everybody just said, oh, like international film screener Dario, he's Mexican. That's how he always pictured me, like Cisco Ramon. So I always thought that was really weird. Also, he kind of realized halfway during the interview, he kind of realized that he stepped on a landmine. And not completely, because part of the storyline for his character has I don't want to spoil it, but there's something it has to do, and he related it kind of with celebrity. And so he was like, no, there's like a point where you just can't, it's not fun to have fans, because sometimes, you can't even eat a sandwich in the street without somebody taking a picture of you, and then you become a meme and stuff like that. And so it was taking kind of like a negative route, and he realized, oh shit, I'm shit talking, like about complaining about something that I shouldn't, and shit kind of saying bad things about fans. Fortunately, I helped him turn it around. I was like, oh yeah, but there's also the other side of the fans, the support, the love for your work. And I was like, and oh yeah, and that was great. So I think we I think he appreciated that. I'm pretty sure he's going to remember me for last time, because his face was pretty funny. You could see that he was like, oh no, I went the wrong way. Anyway, after him, I got to interview Hartley Sawyer, who plays Ralph Dibney, or the Elongated Man. Really funny dude, really tall too. It's people who are uncomfortably tall. I don't know how do they do it. It's like having to like duck every single time you go into a room does not seem fun to me. Or if you get distracted, you just hit a like something that you don't expect, like a lamp. I don't know. Point is, really nice dude, really funny. The character he plays was really starting to come into his own, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I got to interview Tom Cavanaugh. Now, for those of you who don't know who Tom Cavanaugh is, he's been on a buttload of things, but specifically for the Arrowverse, well, specifically for the Flash, he plays Dr. Wells, Dr. Harry Wells. He also plays the Reverse Flash. He also plays Eobard Thawne. In the show, he plays like 17 characters. I'm not kidding. He plays like 17 characters. He also, for those of you who don't know who he is, just to give you an example, he plays Ed Stevens in the TV show Ed. He played Dan Dorian, the brother of the main character in the TV show Scrubs. He's been on a lot of stuff. And I mean a lot of stuff. If you saw him, you'd immediately recognize him. Super nice dude. We had a great rapport. I actually got to make fun of him. He kept making jokes about he can't talk about the TV show because the CW snipers will take him out. Really funny dude, kind of a clown. he was wearing a TV shirt that had the Pepsi logo, but it's that Cisco. So everybody loved that. He was a really nice dude. Like I said, we had a great rapport. At one point, I just told him like, no, dude, well, you're a really funny guy, or at least you think you are, and I think you appreciated that. You can see the glint in your eye, like, you son of a bitch, you got me. But it was all in good fun. It was really, really nice meeting him. He's my favorite villain, maybe in the whole Arrowverse. Yes, I'll say it. He's my favorite villain in the whole Arrowverse. Fantastic, phenomenal actor. Now, after the press line, we had the man in the high castle in our room. So that was a round table. That was all Derek. I've never seen the show, but I know some of the people in it. We had Rufus Sewell, who plays, and I'm going to butcher this, Obengruppenführer. I think John Smith, he's the villain. He's also the villain in The Knight's Tale. He's the star of Dark City. Anyway, he's kind of a recognizable dude. And we also had Joel de la Fuente, who plays Inspector Keto, and Jason O'Mara, who plays Wyatt Price. He also appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He plays the Patriot, and he's the voice of Batman in the DC animated universe. So I actually got to meet him last year in, what was it? It was the press line for the Death of Superman. So I kind of already knew him. But I did meet up with him later on. I didn't really talk to him there because I was busy trying to catch up on other stuff because I was really concerned about the red carpet that I had later that night. Anyway, the last press line that we had for that day was Arrow. And like I said before, Arrow's in its final season. It's a big deal. And as soon as I walk in, I'm there, we're setting up, and then I see Derek walk in the room. And I was like, no, you can't fucking do this to me. I want to meet Stephen Amell. Like, I want to meet Arrow, and I've always wanted to ask him one question, because last year he did the same thing. He interviewed Stephen Amell. I did everybody else. But I really wanted to meet Stephen Amell because I wanted to ask him one fucking question. I wanted to know, well, a few years ago, again, for those of you who don't know, I live in San Diego. I was born in San Diego. I was raised in Tijuana, Mexico, but I was kind of in the area. My dad's two favorite teams are the Padres and the Chargers, so I grew up a Charger fan. And a few years ago, the Chargers were leaving San Diego. Well, they left. They ultimately left, but while they were in the process of are they leaving to LA or not, Stephen Amell wrote a letter saying why the Chargers shouldn't leave. And I've always wanted to know why. Why would Stephen Amell care? Why would he write a letter? Why? I wanted to know. I've always been extremely curious. We were grateful. Here in San Diego. Ultimately, it didn't lead to anything. But I was always extremely curious. Why did he write that fucking letter? It made no sense. So I wanted to meet Steve Amell because, again, I'm a fan of the show. I love Arrow. Arrow Season 1 is among the best superhero TV shows out there. Season 1. It kind of takes a dip after that. Like, the best season is the first one. It's been taking a dip afterwards. But Season 1 is still legit. I love Season 1. And Stephen Amell, from as far as I know, he's a really good dude. So Derek walks in the room, and he's like, don't worry, you'll get Stephen. I need to do one, and you get the rest. So I was so happy when he said that. I was also happy because I didn't have to ask. I think he kind of knew because last year he saw my heartbreak. Anyway, so he got Rick Gonzalez, who plays Wild Dog on the show. I got David Ramsey, who plays John Diggle. I got Katie Cassidy, who plays Laura Lance, Black Siren. I got Juliana Harkeby, who is an uncomfortably beautiful woman. She plays Dinah Drake, Black Canary. Everything was fine with them. Everything went perfect. Some of them, like Katie Cassidy, got a little emotional at one point because, again, show's been quite a few years of their lives. They're not going to be working together anymore. Also, Emily, who plays Felicity Smoke, left last season. She was an OG. And so they said it was very different going into work every day and not seeing her face. So it was very emotional for a lot of the people in the room. Now, by that point, some other a-hole down the line had been hugging Stephen Amell for a really long time, and they had no more time for him. Stephen Amell was like, all right, no, well, we need to move him onto a table, and you won't have any time he won't have any time for more interviews. And I was like, no, son of a bitch! So I go with one of the reps and ask him, can we get Stephen? I haven't gotten Stephen Amell yet. Can you do us a favor? And she looks at me. She looks me up and down. And this is where things pay off. Me following the rules the whole time, this is the moment where it paid off because she kind of looked me up and down. She kind of did the head nod thing, like, all right, you've been good so far. And she says, okay, you get one question. So I immediately, like, that was good news, bad news. Good news because it, I knew that I had to ask him something show related. I knew that I had to ask him something show related, which means that, wait, good news because I would get to interview Stephen Amell. Bad news because since I knew that I had to ask him something show related, I could not ask him about the Chargers thing. So I'm still not going to be able to get I was still not going to get the answer for that question, but it put me in a precarious situation because Derek specifically wanted me to ask a thing. Now, while he was interviewing The Flash, The Flash made a comment about during the last crossover, the crossover of last season was called Elseworlds, where Grant Gustin got to play Green Arrow and Stephen Amell had to play The Flash. And so Grant was saying that Stephen just kept doing some funny movements that he thought was imitating him. And so Derek wanted me to try to get that movement from him. So to me, I was like, okay, I have one question to ask. I'm not going to be able to get that. So I'm going to be disappointing him, but I need to get something out. I need to go with the question because they want to get a bit where they're talking. iHeartMedia National wants to get something from the show that they could use. Like, he talked about this from the show. So I knew immediately that I was like, okay, well, I can't ask any of those things. So I'll just go for the straight basic question, and which is, by the way, the end of last season of Arrow was really weird because it sets up the show that like it's going to come in a way that it's never come in before. Arrow has always been the show in the Arrowverse that's kept its feet on the ground, or at least it's been the most realistic one. All the other shows are batshit crazy. They deal with metahumans, they deal with alternate dimensions, they deal with a whole bunch of science and shit. Arrow has kind of always kept its feet on the ground. But the way this season ended, I don't know if I should do this. Okay, spoiler alert if you don't want. I don't think it's going to spoil anything, but anyway, the way it ends is the Monitor comes and picks up Stephen Amell, and he's like, okay, I need you to help me save the universes, the multiverse. So it ends with Oliver Queen, Green Arrow, leaving the universe to travel throughout the universe. So I kind of had to ask, the question that I had to ask is, where are we going to find Oliver Queen? Because let me see if I can remember exactly how I asked it. Because I fucked up for Steven, since I didn't, it was like a last second thing, like, all right, we'll bring him, and they just brought him to me. I didn't have time to record on my phone, so I don't have that audio. They have the audio on the mic, but I don't have it on my phone, so I couldn't go through it. I'm trying to remember what I asked. I think I asked him, like, okay, so next season of Arrow is going to start in a way we've never seen before. Steven's left with the Monitor. So at the start of the next season, where are we going to see Oliver, and what can we expect from him this season? Stephen Amell looks at me and says, we're gonna find Oliver exactly where we found him in the pilot. And this threw me off. This really threw me off. And you could see in his face that he was enjoying it. Dude was messing with me, and he was loving it. And so I was like, I was stunned because I was like, okay, I already asked my question, so I'm kind of like, what am I supposed to do here? That was a really short question. I kind of didn't know what to do. And so the rep touches Steven, kind of like, okay, we're going to move. Steven turns to like, it's fine. And so I get to elaborate a little bit on the question. He elaborates a little bit more on the answer, and then he says, "Oh, well, and we'll see him where we found the pilot. What do you think that means?" I took the cop out, and I basically said, "I think I'll have to wait and see." But one quick thing, Grant Gustin from The Flash said that you do a really funny movement when you pretended to be The Flash. Can you show us on camera? And then Stephen Amell went on another joke about how he's never going to do anything Grant Gustin says, and that he sucks, and that the Arrowverse is going to pretty much implode after he leaves. So, really, really funny dude, really chill, and super nice because he did that. Kind of an a-hole because he knew that he was doing it on purpose to mess with me. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that sense of humor. So now I'm a bigger Stephen Amell fan than I was before. Really funny dude, really great. I hope that he does well after his career, after Arrow finishes, and I hope they finish off the last season with a bang. So that was Arrow final season. Next, me and Cody ran to the Nat Geo, the National Geographic party. We basically ate there as much as we could, some burger sliders and some French fries, and had a few drinks before heading over to the EW. That's the Entertainment Weekly red carpet. Now, this was something that I'd been stressing over all day because I'll just go through the list. I didn't get to interview everybody because on a red carpet you're kind of just all on a fence. Well, you're fenced off. You're trying to just yell at people to try to come in and talk to you. Well, not yell because we're kind of nice here in San Diego, but you want somebody to come over and talk to you. Some of the stars just walk up, take a picture, and keep going. Others actually stop to talk to you. But the thing is, sometimes you don't know who you're talking to. So you kind of have to make up stuff on the fly. You have to try to listen in to when they're talking with the person next to you or a few people over, and you're like, what show is she from? I'm like, oh, this one. Okay, right. And you go IMDb real quick. It's really, really stressful. But okay, this is from my phone, either pictures or video that I took, and try to remember all the people that I saw. And so some I talked to, some I didn't. And I'll just go through it real quickly because, again, it's a pretty long one. This is the red carpet, okay? So first off, right off the bat, I had Melanie from the TV show Winona Earp. I had Winona Earp herself, Melanie Scrofano, and Catherine Burrell, who plays Nicole Holt. I haven't seen a second of this show, and I'd never seen any of those humans before. So I had to interview them blind. Fortunately, I think it went kind of well, and they knew how. I mean, they've done this before. They're professionals. It's not the show's first season, and so they just kind of went off on themselves talking about the show, and I'm like, okay, well, I got enough. After that, I got to see Betty Gilpin, who plays Debbie on the TV show Glow, which I'm a fan of. It's a great TV show. The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling on Netflix. She walked by. Got to see Lauren Ash. Oh, I got to interview Lauren Ash, who plays Dina in the TV show Superstore. Super nice, extremely, extremely funny girl. We had a nice interaction, a nice riff. And by the way, some of this, there was a few times when I was interviewing somebody, and off the corner of my eye, I could see a big star walking by or somebody, and I was like, God fucking damn it! And here I am with a mic on this person. You wish you could just be like, okay, shut up, you there, come here, or something. I'm not gonna say any names, but anyway, I'll continue. After that, we had Rick Worthy, who you may remember. He plays Henry Fogg in the TV show The Magicians. He also was in Star Trek Enterprise and played the Alpha Vampire in the TV show Supernatural. Also, speaking of vampires, we had a few members of the original cast of Vampire Diaries. They just walked by. Unfortunately, I couldn't interview any of them. We had Candice King, who played Caroline, Matthew Davis, who plays Alaric, and he's also now in the TV show Legacies. Also, Quincy Foose was back for Legacies. If you remember, I interviewed him on the red carpet for the Cirque du Soleil. Really nice kid. There also Kat Graham was there, who plays Bonnie, and Michael Malarkey, who plays Enzo. And he is appearing on the new History Channel TV show, Project Blue Book. Now, for Project Blue Book, I got to interview Aidan Gillen. Aidan Gillen? I don't know. I'm sorry. No. The Project Blue Book has the star is Aidan Gillen, who plays Littlefinger on Game of Thrones. And it's a TV show pretty much about the 60s, how they're in the 50s and 60s, how they're reporters investigating aliens, but alien cover-ups by the government. And I got to interview Laura Manel, who plays Mimi Heineck, who's the wife of Littlefinger, pretty much. We also got to interview Svenja Zolo, who plays Susie Miller. Really nice lady. She's into aliens, but not as into conspiracy theories as Laura Manel, but still really fun to talk to. Then I got to see, while I was interviewing them, I got to see the cast of Legends of Tomorrow. That's another CW show. A few of them walked by. Katie Loltz, who's the star of the show, she plays Sarah Lance, a.k.a. the White Canary. And Brandon Ruth, who plays the Atom in that show, or plays Superman in Superman Returns, just walked by. And I was like, you son of a bitch, stop! It would be great to interview fucking Superman. If I couldn't get the one Superman, another one would have been just as good. Well, not as good, because he wasn't that great. But it would have been fun. And also Courtney Ford, who you may know, she plays Nora Dark on the show, but she's been on everything. She was in True Blood, Dexter, Supernatural, Revenge. If you saw her, you'd recognize her. Also, she just walked by. Then we had the stars of the TV show The Mayans walk by. Emilia Rivera, Antonio Jaramillo. Then The Boys showed up. The Boys, the cast from The Boys, the new TV show from Netflix. Now, I don't know most of the cast, and honestly, the only person I cared about was Carl Urban, who plays Éomer in The Lord of the Rings, and he's also Judge Dredd. So he showed up, walked by, didn't do interviews, which sucked because it was like, all right, you're Éomer. I have so many Lord of the Rings questions. But alas, at least we got to see him. Then we got the kids from Cobra Kai. So we got Sholo Maridueña, Tanner Buchanan, and Mary Mouser. So they showed up. Mary kind of did her own thing and started doing interviews separately. Tanner and Cholo stopped on our end. So since I already met them, we got to talk a little bit, and without the grown-ups in the room, I asked them, a pretty simple question. Do they think that they would be, do Tanner and Cholo think that they'd be able to beat up Billy and Ralph in a fight? So does Cholo Maridueña and Tanner Buchanan, can they take down Billy Zabka and Ralph Macchio? The answer from Tanner was yes. And if he has to pick, he would definitely pick to fight against Ralph Macchio. Cholo thinks that he would get his ass whipped. But whatever. Point is, it was good seeing them again. From there, we got the cast of Riverdale. They walked by. Their press room was the next day, so it made sense why they wouldn't stop there for a red carpet. Then we had a few stars from Supernatural. We had we had the Archangel Gabriel, Chuck, who the guy who plays Chuck, who's God, and the actress who plays Orwina. So I could say their names, but they're not. I don't know them for anything other than Supernatural, so I just said their character's name. Then I got to meet one of the stars of season 2 of The Terror. Now, The Terror is going to be an anthology series, so season 1 has nothing to do with season 2, except that it's going to be horror related. And the actress is Cristina Rodlo. She's going to play Luz, and she's a Hispanic actress, so we talked a little bit in Spanish. I think that got me a few extra points. She's a very nice, very talented lady. Also, she's extremely beautiful, so that was a lot of fun. From there, I got to the Brian O'Halloran from Clerks. He plays Dante. He wasn't even supposed to be here, but he showed up. He also does a brief cameo in Madness in the Method. That's the Jason Mewes movie that I talked about yesterday. So he was there for the ceremony that happened the day before for Jane Silent Bob, the handprint ceremony. So it made sense that he was there. Then a few members of the cast of Arrow walked by. Again, they'd already done their press room, so they just most of them just walked by. Well, they did a few interviews, but I didn't really ask them for any because we already had material from them. Then we had the cast of Supergirl, and this one surprised me because with the cast of Supergirl came John Cryer. Now, you guys may not know this, but John Cryer actually played by the way, John Cryer, Alan from 2.5 Men. Charlie's brother. John Cryer plays Lex Luthor in Supergirl. So it's really weird to see him. It was really weird to see him and especially seeing him as Lex Luthor. It's really weird. It's a trip. But he was there, which was fun. Taron Egerton, who plays Kingsman, who's the lead in the Kingsman, who's going to be appearing in the Dark Circle, who plays Rocket Man in the new. Well, he plays Elton John in the Rocket Man movie. He showed up. Then we had the cast of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the characters that showed up were Daisy, or Sky, the lead in the show, Melinda May, a.k.a. the Cavalry, the girl, Elizabeth Henstridge, who plays Jenna, and the actor Jeff Ward. I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a bit, so I really don't know who that guy is. And Adrian Palicki, who is now in the Orville. She now is in the Orville, but originally she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She showed up too. She's a very tall woman. She also appears in John Wick 1. She's I won't spoil it. I won't do any spoilers. Anyway, from there, we got to meet one of the coolest, probably the coolest dude in the whole red carpet, or at least for me. Thomas Ian Nicholas. Now, for those of you who don't know who that is the Rookie of the Year. That he also plays Kevin in American Pie. He's the kid in King Arthur's Court. So I'm a big fan of his. I've seen his movies since I was growing up. I remember Rookie of the Year was one of my favorite films growing up. I love that movie. So seeing him was a trip for me. Super, extremely nice guy. And over the top nice because he offered afterwards. Well, we had a very pleasant conversation. It was kind of a long one. And afterwards, he was like, "Hey, dude, do you guys want me to get you anything to drink? You're just out here." And I was like, "Oh, sure, yeah, a beer would be fine." And I thought he wasn't going to do it because once you get in, getting out would be a pain, probably. The dude got us a beer. Like, he brought us back a couple of beers and a couple of waters. That's just so unnecessarily nice. He went out of his way. He didn't have to. Dude, I'm an Ian Nicholas fan now. Dude, Nicholas. I'm an Ian Nicholas fan. Dude was top-notch, classy dude. I did not expect that he didn't have to offer, he didn't have to follow through, but he did both those things. So to me, that was the coolest thing he could have done. He was the coolest thing that could have done. But after him, we had a couple members of the cast of The Man in the High Castle. Again, Rufus Sewell, he just walked there again. He's the villain from The Knight's Tale. But we had Rich Ting. Now, he wasn't in the room before, so I got to get some material from him, and he talked about another show that he worked on, which is Warrior. Now, he has a very interesting story because when he was growing up, his idol was Bruce Lee. Dude's a martial artist. He's also a gigantic human being, but he was a martial artist, and he shared with us that the TV show Warrior is actually Bruce Lee's final project that never got completed. So in 2019, they did it, and it's out, and season 2 they're working on season 2 now. So, dude, the dude's idol, he got to finish his final unfinished project, which is phenomenal. That's every freaking fanboy's dream. That's the fan's dream right there. So, really, I felt really good for him. It was awesome to hear his story. And then we got Jason O'Mara, who, again, he's the voice of Batman, so I got to talk to him a little bit about Batman Hush, and the future of Batman, the DC animated world, and all that stuff. Really nice guy. Like I said, I already met him from the year before, so we kind of already knew a little bit about each other. He was really happy because in the room, he walked away with a little red stormtrooper, which he thought was awesome. So he walked out of there with a collectible. Good for him. After that, we got Alexa Swinton. Now, you won't know her. She's a little girl. I mean, like a 7-year-old, a tiny little girl, but she's going to be the star of the new ABC show Emergence. She was adorable, and I mean adorable. Again, one of those moments where you're like, that's why they cast you. You are just an adorable tiny human. So I got to talk to her a little bit. I only got one question, but her answer was rehearsed. You know that when they tell a little kid, this is what you have to say. And so, but she said it so eloquently. It was really funny to see. It was a really interesting experience. Now, while I just remember this. While I was interviewing Jason O'Mara, off the corner of my eye, I see a little pink thing walk by, and so I look again, and I just notice Maisie Williams, aka Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, walk by behind him, and I was like, no, there's nothing I can do. I'm stuck here. But it was, again, I knew Jason, and he was a cool dude, so I didn't mind that, but it was one of those, is there more Game of Thrones people here? So I turn around very quickly, and we were finishing up with Jason anyway, and I just see Jacob Anderson, a.k.a. Grey Worm, walking by, also just almost sprinting just to get out of there. And it's like, God damn it, he's not going to stop for an interview. But I got to, I did get a little video from Grey Worm. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything from Arya. She was too quick. The little minx. After that, I noticed the cast of Vikings. Specifically, Catherine Winnick, who plays Lagertha, and is one of the most beautiful and perfect women in the world. And Alexander Ludwig, who plays Bjorn. And I could just see them go down the line, and I was like, I want to talk with Catherine. I need to meet Catherine. Also, I took a quick little video of her, and I sent it to my buddy Gil. Me and Gil, we also watch Vikings, and we agree that Lagertha is a perfect woman. We love her. And I just got a reply from him, you son of a bitch! I hate you! Go fuck your mother! And I was like, So I was just, ready to pounce. As soon as they let her go, and she was about to walk by near me, it's like, I'm going to get her. At that moment, 2 of the Impractical Jokers get free and walk up right in front of us. So It was James Murray and Joey Gatto. So I got two Impractical Jokers in front of me who are a big deal as well, and I'm a fan of. And so I was like, God damn it! All right, hopefully we'll get this out of the way. I started talking to them. The interview's going great. We're having interesting rapport. The dudes are super nice. They're all this year for some reason they didn't show up for the show. I think they were just really busy. Because every year they pop up. Every Comic-Con so far, at least one of them has popped up for an interview for the morning show while they're down at Comic-Con. This year they couldn't do it. I don't know why. I didn't really get into it. But really nice dudes. And as we're in the middle of it, I just see Catherine Winnick Lagertha walk by and into the party. And a little part of my heart broke. A little part of my heart broke. Because she was stopping to talk to people. I can understand other people who didn't stop. She was actually stopping. So if I would have been free and called out, she would have stopped. Anyway, yes, that was heartbreaking. After that, so Practical Jokers, really cool, really nice guys. After that, we got I saw a couple stars from The Walking Dead. Nadia Hilker, she plays Magna. She also played Luna in the 100. And I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm sorry, Shaniqua Martin Green, who played Sasha in The Walking Dead and is now the star of Star Trek Discovery. She plays Burnham. She's the star of the show. And from that, a couple members of the cast of Van Helsing showed up. And now, if you paid attention to all this list, to this whole list that I've just said in the red carpet, you notice some big names, some smaller names. And those are the ones that just noticed. Some of them kind of skipped the whole red carpet completely and they just went straight to the party. Because, A-listers get to do that. So, and if you see the pictures from the party afterwards, you're like, oh shit, he was there? I never see him walk by. And I missed a few. But there's quite a few TV stars from big TV shows. And they were just, everybody, and we were at the pool. There's like a grass thing at the roof of the Hard Rock next to the pool. So people in the Hard Rock could look out their windows and see the red carpet, everything going on. If you have one of those rooms, it's really cool. But so far, everybody in the balconies, really nice. Except they only yelled for one person. One person. As soon as he showed up, you hear from the balconies people going, Nathan! We love you, Nathan! Nathan! Woo! Nathan fucking Fillion, the unicorn, showed up. And he was kind of getting ready to do the red carpet thing. As soon as people started yelling, he was like, nope, gotta get out of here. So he just fired through the whole red carpet thing. He's like, I gotta get out of here to somewhere more private. I cannot be here. And I was like, son of a bitch, you loudmouth motherfuckers. I could have had another chance to talk to Nathan Fillion and get a picture and tell him, I'm a big fan of Nathan Fillion. So, I'm telling you, I wasn't exaggerating. When I say king of the con, one of the kings of the con, I'm not joking. It's him, Mark Hamill, and the three leads from Supernatural. Those are the 5 kings of the con. No, Picard would probably be up there too. No, okay. Ooh, this is hard. Anyway, the point is Nathan Fillion is definitely out there. If we're doing a Mount Rushmore of the kings of the con, Nathan Fillion is definitely up there. Anyway, and Mark Hamill for sure too. So you got 2 up there. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so that was it. After that party, that was it. We were there till like almost midnight doing the red carpet thing. It was a lot of fun, but it was exhausting. Like my brain was burnt out. Because again, so much person, like, who's that person? I have no idea. Research it. The internet is fucked because every fucking person in the world is fucking in San Diego right now. Fuck! And so you kind of just have to fly off the seat of your pants. Some of them you know, some of them you don't. You get good ones, you get bad ones. Doesn't matter. In the end, it was really cool. It was really, really cool. And a fun experience. Now, that's the end for Saturday. Went home. Went to bed. Actually, we got a few free things there. Then went back at it on Sunday. And Sunday at 10 a.m., I had a round table, which again is when you sit with 9 other reporters. I'm just giving you a number. It wasn't 9, but let's say with 9 other reporters, and there's a free chair in the table, and that's when one of the stars or the producer comes in. They sit down, and you ask them a few questions, but you kind of have to share the time, and you get 1 or 2 questions at the most. Anyway, so at 10 a.m., I had to be there for Riverdale. Now, for those of you who don't know, Luke Perry appeared in Riverdale. He was the father of Archie Andrews, so he was Mr. Andrews, and he died last year, so he died like halfway through the season. And so everybody kind of wanted to ask about Luke Perry, but it kind of did not go very well. So in the round table, the first person that we got was KJ Apa, who plays Archie Andrews. And I struggled so long thinking of how you can approach that question without kind of ruining the whole vibe. And so Derek suggested, well, ask him tell us a little bit of the outreach of support from the fans after, Luke's death. And so, unfortunately, somebody else asked something about the death of Luke, and he gave a vague answer. And so I just went, okay, well, this will help turn this around. I'll ask him about the fans' reaction and how the support and all that stuff. So I asked the question pretty much how Derek told me to ask it. And I don't think he understood me. By the way, he's Australian. It's really weird to see Archie Andrews with an Australian accent. But I think something got lost in the translation, and he kind of just looked at me weird, and he was like, no, I haven't discussed this with the fans, and then looked at somebody else. And I was like, oh, no, this is not going well. There was something really lost in the translation there. Fortunately, I managed to turn it around afterwards, because there was like, let's say there was 7 people on the table. 3 were girls and 4 were guys, and you could tell that other than me, none of the guys watched the show. So since I knew more about the show, I asked a little bit more in-depth questions, and I asked him one that he liked. So this is the question that I asked, and so I was like, okay, so I asked him 2 questions. So the first one was, in season 1, we get to see Archie as the musician and the football star. Season 2, we got Archie kind of the gangster. Season 3, we got Archie the boxer. What kind of Archie are we going to see for season 4? And now his answer made me really happy for the future of the show, because I've complained about Riverdale before. Season 1, murder mystery, teen drama murder mystery, fantastic. Season 2, kind of a gangster mystery. It went a little bit off the rails. It wasn't nowhere near as good. Season 3, half the storyline was interesting, which was kind of the mystery part, and half the storyline made no fucking sense. It was like the 2 authors just divvied up the characters, and one wrote one storyline, another one wrote the other, and they're like, okay, I'm using these characters, you use those others, and we'll meet at the end. So season 3 was half really interesting, half really weird, but there was one moment in season 3 when there's a musical episode. They do a musical of Heathers, and they sing a song, Can't We Just Be 17? And after I saw that episode, I remember I told my sister Dina, because she watches the show too, and I was like, if they continue with that storyline, with that mentality, this show could be great again. Because they were trying to do things way too adult. But if they continue that moment of the nostalgia of just wanting to be kids, just going back to a teen drama, so you can still have the murder mystery there, but going back to teen drama, this show would be phenomenal again. And so KJ Appa's answer was like, we're going to go back to high school, try to go back to normalcy so that the kids can enjoy their senior year. So they'll deal with actual more high school stuff. Archie will try to get back on the football team. So apparently it's going to be a return to normal, a return to normalcy after all the insanity that happened before. So I was very happy, and I think he liked that question. And so since nobody else was asking anything, I decided to ask him about, because the character is both musical, he's artistic, and it's also a very physical role. So I asked him about which aspect he preferred. So we joked a little bit there about, because nobody really realizes how much they have to work out for the show. So imagine you're on set for 12, 14, 16 hours, and they still expect you to come in shredded the next day. So you kind of have to find a way to fit in a workout session somewhere. So he wanted them to build a gym on the set or something, but they used fake weights and stuff. So I think I turned it around is my point, okay? I managed to turn around after the immediate dislike, which I was very happy about. I hate walking out of an interview when I'm like, fuck, I just fucked that one up. Because it means that I may have fucked it up for the future, which is something I don't want. So, like it happened with Rebecca Romaine. Anyway, so I think it went pretty well. After that, then we got Lily Reinhardt, who plays Betty Cooper. Really nice girl. Very, she's a gorgeous human being. I love her. Like, I love Betty Cooper so much. I like that she's kind of crazy. And I found her to be very interesting. She's, again, really tiny human. In TV, you look at them and you're like, oh, you're bigger. But no, these were kind of tiny people, except for Cole. Cole's a tall dude, but I'll get to him in a minute. So we got to talk to Lily Reinhardt. Most of the CW crew, except, or at least for the Riverdale crew, this is like their first success. So they're still really modest. Like, for example, Camila Mendes, who plays Veronica Lodge, this is like her first big show, her first big role. And so she's still really modest about it. She's still really grateful for everything. She's really kind to everybody. And she even says, like, no, I'm still new at this, so I'm still kind of trying to figuring out the whole press thing and all that stuff, and I just don't want to mess up. So it's the whole cast is like that, except for Cole. Now, Cole Sprouse, but we also had Madeline Persh, who plays Cheryl Blossom. So we had Archie, Betty, Veronica, Cheryl, and Cole Sprouse, who plays Jughead Jones. Now, Cole Sprouse used to be on a little TV show that the name. He has a twin brother. The Wonderful Life of Zack and Cody. Zack and Cody. I do not remember exactly what it was. And by the way, I just read. I typed in his name real quick because I want to remember the TV show. It's The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and I just learned that because apparently Cole Sprouse was dating Lily Reinhardt, and it turns out that they just broke up. So I'm very worried that kind of the OC scenario is going to happen in Riverdale. I don't want that because if you guys remember the TV show The OC, what was his name? Summer and Seth were dating in real life, the actors, and after they broke up, the show was canceled. So this was really, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'd like to think that Lily Reinhardt met me and is like, you know what, I got to break up with Cole. That guy who interviewed me, he was just, he had something. So I like to think that I was the cause for it because they broke up 2 days ago, apparently. Anyway, I don't know why I went on that rant, but I guess it's just my wishful thinking. Anyway, so Cole is actually a pretty cool dude. He's done that since he was a little kid. So he just messed around with the press people. He gave like weird looks, unexpected answers. He kind of moved kind of funny. Like you could tell the dude was just having fun. He didn't really you could tell that he's been a star since he was a toddler pretty much. So I mean, if I'm not mistaken, does he play is he Ross's son? Yeah, he plays Ben Geller. So literally he's also the kid from Big Daddy. So literally since he was a baby, he's been on TV. So yeah, you could see him very comfortable in that position. Anyway, after that, here's the big thing that happened for us. And now, well, kind of one thing leads to the other. So in the room, we had author Timothy Zahn. I'm pretty sure I butchered his name. I don't care. He's the book author. He writes a few storylines, novels in the Star Wars universe. He wrote the Thrawn trilogy. And so Thrawn is a character in the Star Wars expanded universe. And apparently, I've never read the books. I've never been an expanded universe guy, except for video games. And a few TV shows like Clone Wars and stuff like that. But apparently, to a lot of people, a lot of fanboys, Star Wars fanboys, dude's like God. Like, he's a god. And so I got to have, we interviewed him in the room, and afterwards he was hanging out with us, and I got to have a pretty pleasant conversation with him about storytelling in general, and we talked about The Last Jedi, and he said one thing that made me want to read his books. So I told him that in The Last Jedi, the thing that was driving me nuts was that the bad guys were just following behind the rebels, instead of just sending a ship in front of them, turning it around and getting them in a pincer maneuver, leaving them nowhere to go. And he says, yeah, that's because these guys don't understand military strategy. And I was like, oh my God, this dude writes Star Wars with military strategy in mind. I gotta read this. I gotta read this fucking story. This fucking stories. I gotta read these books. So I became a fan of the guy after that. We talked about a whole bunch of other things, about Solo, the things that I didn't like. We talked about Cobra Kai. We talked about a whole bunch of things. He's a super, super nice dude. Authors tend to be that way. Some of them either are kind of kooky or others are just really nice. He's really nice. Now, the final thing we had for the Comic-Con this year, for the con this year, I was going to say the con, but I ended up saying the Comic-Con. Stupid. Anyway, the final thing we had is Supernatural. Now, Supernatural, that it's in their final season. And like I said before, the three main dudes in Supernatural are, I'd consider kings of the con as well. Because I've said this, I said this multiple times during the weekend. Fans are carnivores, okay? Fans are carnivores. They'll go crazy. They'll eat you if they get the chance. The fans of Supernatural are particularly insane. It's like a cult. It's not a fan base, it's a cult. And the stars of the TV show call them that way, and the fans go like, yes! Our leader has spoken, we're a cult! So they are nuts. Nuts. Dudes can't walk around the convention floor. They can't walk around anywhere because they will be eaten alive. So it was really fun because we got to, and by the way, I wish I could show you the video for all this, but I can't, and I'll explain why in a minute, because it's still, the video for it hasn't, I haven't gotten the green light for it yet, basically. So we got to interview Misha Collins. Misha Collins plays Castiel and is a gigantic weirdo in the best way possible. He's kind of kooky. His eyes kind of wander from time to time, like he's not paying attention, or in the middle of something he gets another thought and he looks away. He's kind of a kooky dude, but really nice. Super nice dude. We also got Alexander Calver, who plays Jack. He's the newcomer of the stars, but nobody really cares. The main stars are Misha Collins, Jensen Ackles, and Jared Padalecki. Now, for Jensen Ackles, he plays Dean Winchester, by the way. There's a whole big campaign of people wanting him to be the next Cyclops. So what Derek thought about is he got a couple of a pair of costume like Cyclops glasses, and he asked Jensen to wear them. So we got video of him putting it on, took pictures of it, and that's one of the things that he's trying to sell because he knows that thing's gonna go like gangbusters in the internet. So I can't really show you that, but needless to say, he looks really cool on the role. I am team Jensen Ackles for the next Cyclops, even though I don't like Cyclops. But I think he could carry that role. He could actually be the leader of the team. He could be the star of the movie. And extremely nice dude. The Supernatural dudes, again, CW people in general, super nice, really polite. You could tell that he was kind of sad that the series was over, but he knows that it's time. It's been around forever. And they had a few opportunities of closing it out with a bang, but now they're taking the final opportunity to go out with a bang, and apparently it's going to be bonkers. But the big moment from Comic-Con, the big thing that my friend Derek had prepared, Derek Zante, was a special fanboy moment for Jared Padalecki. So, Jared Padalecki is a huge, huge Star Wars guy. He loves the Star Wars novels. His favorite book is Heir to the Throne, which is part of the Thrawn trilogy, which was written by Timothy Zahn. Now, in years past, Jared has mentioned to Derek, like, oh man, I can't walk. I wish I could, walk as a fan the convention floor and go and meet some of the authors and stuff, but he can't. He literally can't. So Derek thought, you know what? I got Timothy Zahn. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to get him to meet Jared Padalecki on camera. I'm gonna set that meetup. If he can't go to the con to meet the person he wants to meet, the person he's a fan of, I'm going to bring that person to him. And so we captured a camera. I wish, again, when I can, I'll load a link for this video. But we got Jared Padalecki getting to meet one of his idols, Timothy Zahn. And he is speechless. speechless. And it's one of those moments that he's so excited that he's speechless. He's just, he doesn't know how to react. So he's just like, seriously? Are you really him? And he doesn't know what to do. And this is a person who's professionally done interviews for over a decade. He's been on screen doing professional interviews for over a decade. And he was speechless. He was like a giddy little kid. The only thing he could think of doing was shaking his hand, hugging him, and asking him for a selfie. Jared Padalecki he fanboyed out and asked somebody for a selfie. It was adorable. It was one of those moments that while you're filming it, you couldn't help but smile because it was genuine happiness. And so you were genuinely happy to see somebody, have that moment for themselves. It was honest. It was a beautiful moment to be a part of. It was great. Jared did not know what to say. He did not know what to say. He's like, I want to geek out, but I'm supposed to be doing this. So Derek gives Timothy the microphone, and Timothy starts interviewing him. Like, what's next for you? They just kind of talked a little bit between each other. It was honestly an amazing moment. It was an amazing moment to be a part of. It was great. The joy on his face. Jared didn't know what to do, so he was just hugging people all around. It was phenomenal. It was my favorite moment of the entire con. It was great. Get those genuine, heartfelt moments. Those are great. But that's it. That's how we wrapped up the con. That's how I wrapped up all my press stuff for this year, and that's how I'm finishing up today. So today I'm done. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed my journey throughout Comic-Con. Hopefully you're not as tired as I am. I did another hour and 11 minutes nonstop. I'm exhausted. I need some water. But that's it. Tomorrow, supposedly, my kid brother's supposed to join me so that I can finally tell Do you know what the gangbanging story? But I'm also gonna go watch. I'm gonna go watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood today, and they asked me to review a video game. So I don't know if I'm gonna do the reviews or I'm gonna do the story. It depends. Basically, it all depends on if my brother wants to cross the border and come to the studio early, or if he's gonna be a dick about it. So I don't know. We'll play it by ear. And for Friday, I don't know what to do because I did promise before that I was going to do another Ask Me Anything thing. The Instagram story thing. By the way, I'm going to be loading pictures of all things that I talked about today on my Instagram. You can find me at Dario the Show. I'll load stuff there. I also loaded a whole bunch of stuff from yesterday. From the things that I talked about yesterday. So I don't know. I'll play it by ear. I guess it all depends on what happens tomorrow. But, okay. That's it. That's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.